mate, how are you?
Hello.
How we doing?
Knackered.
Been a busy weekend, I guess.
I'm all right. Busy weekend, yeah.
I don't. We'll give it a couple of minutes before we get into the actual subject. But it's not very often I compliment you out in public. But I thought the way you set that fit ass where it was controlled enough in the wind. Obviously, you had better conditions today, and the score stayed the same. So that takes a lot of doing, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, it's I don't know. We look at the prevailing weather, wind direction, and we can push targets on in the wind with the springs, as we spoke about before.
Yeah.
And you know, I looked at them this morning, and it's dead calm out there this morning, like it is now. And I thought, well, they're all landing in pretty much the same place as they did yesterday.
I mean, the scores say it all, don't they? You know.
Yeah. The only one I'll say probably was a bit easier today was that big crow in the wood on the.
Yeah, but I had this conversation. I had this conversation last night with a group of guys, and I said that, you know, okay, so the crow will come in, but the teal on the layout opposite will go out.
Yes, it did over the railway line. Yeah,
you know,
correct. Yeah.
You know, we all shot that on the way down.
Yeah.
You know,
I did yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, well, if it didn't come back, you couldn't. So I said that when I sent you the message last night. I thought that it would actually even out quite well in that wind. And that takes some doing. We all know it can be, even just a little 2-day event like that can actually really get scores messed up, can't it?
Yeah.
But as we spoke about yesterday, I think the reason for the chat is due to the hard work of, you know, Ian Parker, yourself, Nicola Heron, Richard Folds, etc., getting your heads together. We're back out competing, and some of us have done all four now. A lot of people are sitting on the fence, not so much because they think it's wrong, but I think they're a little scared or apprehensive about how it works, you know. And realistically, it's not that much different. It's just a little bit safer, isn't it? So I think if we can have a chat or maybe walk them through how it works between the fit ass and the sporting, etc., and just put their minds at ease on how it can be done, mate.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the sporting first. You know, from when they enter through the driveway, they drive down, they park the cars as normal, go in the clubhouse. We've been operating a one-way system in the clubhouse, so you go in the end where the loos are, walk through. Markers are all on the floor. People I noticed today, you know, they were queuing up sensibly, 2-3 metres apart, some people. Entering the chute, getting their squad number, getting their position to shoot. Then we did have the cafe on today. They were ordering coffee, tea, bacon rolls, and that was served quite relatively fast. They were taking it away and going eating it basically in the boot of their car. Or front seat of the car. And then they're told to report to the collection point, or for a better word, the waiting point, which is in front of the bar. 5 minutes before they're due to shoot.
I think with the way your shoot work at Westfield, that 5 minutes is quite easily self-manageable, because if it's a bit ahead or a bit behind, you can actually see, can't you? You can see stuff.
Yeah.
So if you know that, if you know you're next on and it's empty, it's time to go. If you can actually really self-distance just by common sense, by virtually seeing stand one.
Yeah, definitely. And I said to Vince, who was operating stand one for me, it was a fast stand. It was a Simo pair today on the Sporting. And I said, just glance up there. We cut the timings down to a group of 6 for 10 minutes today instead of 12, which we've been doing for the last 2 or 3. So we run it on 10 minutes. And I said, just glance up the valley. If you see 2 people there and the other 2 are just arriving, slow them back a little bit, pull them back a little bit, and just manage how you're feeding people in the system. And he did that, and there was a couple of 3 groups today that went down in 4s. Once they got to the top of the field, come back down through the wood, they were in 4s, which was fine. But yeah, we can manage it a lot better from that stand number 1. And pretty much we did the same as Ireland last week. As long as we can see stands 2 and 3, you can sort of gauge. And I had a bottleneck last week on stand 5 at Garland's by the big hedge as you go around the corner because a trap was clipping a tree, and I have to slow it down. I have to sort the trap out, and it slowed everything down. But we could pull it back from stand number 1. We had plenty of time on our hands, and it sort of regulated as the day went on, really.
Yeah, I think like my dad, being one of the high risk, he's now happy to come along and start shooting again, as I spoke to you about. And I think it's quite important that yourself and other ground owners, you can put everything sensibly into place. But when you do get a hiccup like that, it just comes down to human common sense, doesn't it? There's 3 squads in front of you, there's always places to stand.
Yeah, definitely. We're not short for space on a shooting ground.
Exactly. I mean, I was quite impressed. I was quite impressed yesterday when we finished. I sat and had a chat with you, and nobody sat on the same table. Even at the end of the day, the social distances, it's becoming part of daily life, isn't it? It's not like we can go out and, oh my God, we've got to social distance at the shoot. We're doing it everywhere we go. So
we are. And, on a normal Sunday, historically, I pretty much shake 200 people's hands in a day. Yeah. And it's got into my psyche. Huh?
I used to.
It's got into my psyche that I don't even attempt to. It's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
So human nature, we pick it up fairly quick.
Yeah, and there's going to be the group of shooters. Well, one thing about shooters is they're a good bunch of people, but they do dislike change.
Yeah.
And I think I've been trying to speak to as many people as I can. And I'll be honest, like I said on these shows, that we're going to be honest, I've had a couple of people come and moan, and I've actually transformed their way of thinking, because shooting's changed for the foreseeable future. This could be in for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 9 months. So in my head, the way I've dealt with it on a competitive front is, this is how shooting now is. And when it changes, that will be nice. But if I keep checking every Sunday to see if it's changed, I could be disappointed for some time.
Yeah. And, let's not forget, 3 weeks ago, we weren't pulling the triggers.
Exactly.
We're out there now. We started with the structured practice, and that worked well. That was as close as we could possibly get legally to the competition world at the time. And we're now back in the competition world. But, I'm sure there's people out there scrutinising what we do, watching what we do, and we've got squeaky clean.
Massively. And that's what I was trying to say to them. Okay, I would rather shoot in a group of 6 of my friends. Of course I would. But I'd rather shoot in 2s than not shoot at all.
Yes, and here's an example. It's on my phone that I'm talking to you on now, and I'll show you as proof one day. I had a random message this morning off a lady on Messenger. I clicked on it, and I thought, never heard of her name before, and basically the message said, is it okay? You're in a beautiful part of the world. She sent me a screenshot of the 3 waiting points at the valley at Westfield. Would it be okay if I can come and take some photographs? So straight away, looked her up on Facebook, no profile there at all, nothing. So I went through the scenario. Look, we're operating social distancing through the shooters. We're operating 2 at a time. Spectators aren't really welcome for what we do. So please, no, I'm afraid you can't come. And she did not take that straight away as an answer. She kept being persistent. In the end, I said, look, you ain't coming with your camera today, end of. So, and she's gone away. So,
yeah, I mean,
you don't know who it is.
No,
and
correct.
We've got to be like, we've got to be seen to be doing the right thing.
Tom Massey, a good friend of mine there, he's out in Norfolk. He's not shot the shoot yet. The one thing that has been a concern for people is the question that Tom's just asked there, is the seeing of the targets. I must admit, the first time I shot it caught me out a couple of times, but all it means is your waiting area now becomes almost like an amber zone. You can't be switched off anymore. You've just got to start looking at the targets prior to when you go in. And my second time round Garlands, it was not a problem because you're aware of it. But I do think it's going to be a little change for people, but it's certainly no different once you know that this point here, the waiting area, is now a working area. Your eyes have got to be working. What's your thoughts on that?
You know, my thought from a competitor side of things, I can get a rough idea of where the targets are coming from and go in and shoot from 10, 12 yards back.
That's what I'm talking about. That's where you've got to work from. Yeah,
you know, I've never been one to stand on people's shoulders in the cage and see what's going on. That's just not me. Now, I've had a couple of comments today. A couple of people said, it's brilliant, it's efficient, it's probably too efficient for their game plan.
Yeah.
Now, you know, as I said a minute ago, just remember we are actually shooting.
Yeah.
That's the vast difference. Now, you know, we've got to make it work. And if that means we've got to stand back a little bit and see what's going on, well, so be it. That's what we've got to do.
But it's like, as shooters, we're very quick, and including myself at times, you speak before you actually think, if that makes sense. You know, you sit there and you say, damn, I couldn't see that pair in front, that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
But then you go away and you think, well, actually, all I've got to do when I go and do my training is to stand behind the cage, see a pair, and learn to figure things out from there. It's got to become part of your now practice routine, is to judge distance, hold points from a different place to usual. Now, one thing I said about this sport is it doesn't matter what the rules are, as long as they're the same for everybody, and these are the same for everybody.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. That's true. You know, I had one person today. You didn't see the sporting today, but
no.
On the railway line, there's a wooden platform there. So it's 4 meters square. So you can get the shooter on there. You get the referee in the corner.
Oh, I know where it is. I know where it is. Just before the bend.
That's it. And then you get the shooter at the top of the stairs looking. Those two finished shooting and come back down. Number 3 shooter went up, and I happened to be there collecting scorecards. And straight away he said, "Can I see a pair?" And the ref said, "Well, no, you can't because you stood behind." "Yeah, but I haven't seen them from the platform." "Well, I'm sorry, but you see 2 traps in front of you, a green one and a pink one. They're both going straight away. The pink one's just standing there. Well, you know, it doesn't look vastly different from a metre off the floor than what it does down below."
Yeah.
And it's like you say, it's just a new psyche we've got to get used to.
Yeah, and I don't think the first time, I'll be dead honest with everybody on here, the first time I left Westfield on your first structured practice, I left there and I was like, damn, that was really efficient. I'm glad I'm out, but this not seeing the whole point thing was really unfair, and I did actually use those words. But then it was later in the week and I was like, well, you know what? It was only unfair because I wasn't used to it.
Yeah.
Then I came to Garland's with a different mindset of, I've got to just switch on 60 seconds earlier. That's all it is. When I'm stood at the bottom of those steps, I've got to be working, not just daydreaming. And you go up there, okay. That's all I'm trying to say is you've got to start working a little bit earlier in that station.
And take the major shoots, for instance. We know the English Open didn't happen this year, but hopefully the British will.
Yeah.
Now, 15 stands of the British, squad of 6 people, chances are you're going to start a stand twice.
Yeah.
You'll only, in a report pair, you're only going to see 1 pair anyway.
And I think that was the problem with the 2. Not the problem, but with the 2s, it was every other station, so it manifested, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you only have to go first twice, like I say, start working 60 seconds earlier, and you're not going to run into any problems.
Yeah.
It's just a new way of doing it, and it could be the future. Who knows? This might be what we are doing.
Another solution, which I quite like the idea of. A shooter actually suggested it today. He said, "Why don't you put the price up and every 2 people see a pair of clays?"
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on the show pair has been the same. I believe you should not see them from the cage anyway, because you're the only person that does.
That's in there, yeah.
So, and around, so if I was actually going to shoot a British Open at Husthwaite, I would want to go first on every peg.
Yes.
Because it's a huge advantage to see some of them.
Yeah.
So I'm all for nobody seeing them from the peg or everybody seeing them from the peg. I'm a big advocate of that. I don't think anybody should see them from inside the peg.
Yeah.
And then this wouldn't have made a difference anyway. But look, I'm looking forward to it. The challenge is, I think whenever you get some form of change, you take it 2 ways, don't you? You say, "Oh my God," or you take it on the chin and say, "Right, I've just got to change my game a little bit here."
You know, I keep saying it. We've got to embrace it. We've got to be positive about the future of moving on. And you know, who knows? I'm just taking it week to week at the moment because next week we could all be locked down again.
Well, if you look at it, we shot in 2s, and we all were like, "Oh my God, we're only shooting 2." It only lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah.
and then that was gone.
Yeah, I suppose I spoke to a lot of AA, AAA shooters today who do the circuit, and I spoke to a few C-class shooters and a general lot of A-class and B-class because I've been around the clubhouse all day. And the general consensus is, in an ideal world, let's go out in 3s.
Yeah.
And then you will get time for the next 3 to catch you up and see what's going on. Now, you know, we could do that. We could stick to the same timings for Oak Edge next week. We might try it. We could stick to the same timings we've given out. But then when we start people off, we'll settle off in 3s.
Well, what I like about 3s or 4s, for instance. Let's say we're going around in 3s and 4s, and we're allowed to go round in 6s. Okay, that's the law.
Yeah.
So if I'm on station 1, second, I can shoot and go and catch the next group.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'm still not breaking that rule.
No.
And I can see them. And when I'm third, I can catch that group.
Correct.
And now the viewing of the targets doesn't become a problem.
Yeah. And that's what Nicola, particularly because she's done a lot of shooting abroad, she understands this. She wanted this snake system to carry on. So, like in compact, nobody views any targets at all. It's your responsibility to get to the next stand. But in reality, on a sporting layout, particularly Westfield, you know, we don't expect people to sprint up them hills at all. Yeah. You know, so we've got to have a bit of flexibility in the system.
But I just think if the second person can leave his squad and go to the next one and not break the 6 mandatory distance in, he's not really got an excuse to not see the birds, because he could have actually seen 3 or 4 people shoot.
Yeah.
If that you know.
Sorry, I missed that first. Sorry, I've got somebody trying to phone me. It's a little nuisance. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's a very good way round it, is that if you're in 4s or 3s, that as long as you know you're second, you can leave the squad once you've shot. You know you're first on the next peg.
Yeah.
You're there and you can view them, and then that way it sort of flows and no one's got any excuses to not see the birds. One thing I did find quite interesting is that we could all moan about things, but you found a lot of people moaning about I couldn't get my hold points that don't even know what a hold point is. you know what I mean? That's the other thing that I think when we just get a little bored, when you're like, look, you point at the floor anyway when you call Paul. So let's not. You know, it wasn't the whole point that cost you. No, we're going to get some questions come through. I mean, that could be the other thing. You know, if you're first on the squad, put a pound box in there. If you want to see an extra pay, drop a pound in. Drop a pound in a box. Walk around at the end of the day and count your pound coins up.
I've as you know, I chat to a lot of people on a shoot day, and I've had the likes of Chris Childerhouse, I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning his name. He said from day one, the first one at Westfield, this is utterly brilliant. He was speaking to Ian Parker and myself, and he said it's wonderful. He said if everybody was like this, he said I could just 3 shoots. I could plan 3 shoots and do it. And then on the flip side, I spoke to 2 casual people that enjoy shooting registered shoots, and they said this is wonderful for us too, because our wives don't like us being out all day on a Sunday, and we can come, we can plan it, we can shoot first in the morning, and we can tell them exactly when we're coming home.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win. It's a lot more efficient for me to manage and run the ground. We know where everybody's up to at one specific point.
Yeah.
And, it's that I can't really see a lot of negatives with it.
No, and there isn't any unless you go looking for some. That's the difference, If this had been in for 10 years and all of a sudden the country, say we'd had this problem for 10 years and they came and said, right, we've got a cure, and everybody turned around and said, right, we're going back to random, people would be like, what on earth is this? It's only because it's changed. That's all it is. And I want to encourage people to not badmouth it. I want to encourage people to give it a fair chance, because doing it this way in 6 months' time, nobody will remember the old way.
Yeah.
And it will just be momentum. When they changed the laws at rugby, we moaned for about 3 games, and then you just stop moaning, because it is you just get on with it. I just want to encourage people to get out and play the game, because we moaned for 9 weeks when we couldn't do it, and then we're allowed out, and we find a problem when we can.
I think we are being really well supported, to be fair. Oakhead next week is nearly full up already. Today we did nearly 200 shooters, and the fit house was full. Yeah. So there's plenty of people out there, but as you say, there's still people, and I understand, still sceptical about even going outside of their driveway, outside of their houses. They might come into a shooting ground where there's 200 people kicking around in a day.
No, and I think all of the feedback is that people love it. Look, when you go to a fit ass shoot, there's still people moan that you can't shoot 36 grams, and that's been out for 20 years. So you're never going to please anybody. What about the fit ass? What's been the reports on the fit ass on the 5-man squad? I'm going to be totally honest. I've got to say I preferred it.
Well, I shot it yesterday, and it did chuck me down a rain, and we got bloody soaked, but it was a lot quicker.
Yeah. You wouldn't think one person would make that much difference.
No, no, it was vast. I normally do 6-man squad on 40-minute turnaround. Today they were doing it 5 men on 25 minutes.
Yeah, we hit no problems. I have to say I really did enjoy it more. I don't know why, because it's no different. That's what I was having this conversation last night with my dad, and I'm like, I can't tell you why I liked it better, because it was the same. But it just seemed to just roll a little better.
One comment I had today, not yesterday, but today, and I noticed it yesterday, but I didn't say anything, was the person that goes first has to go first a couple of times.
But that's everybody. That's what I said. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
that's only going to be on one layout.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So, one layout you're going to go, you'll be up there, and then the next layout it'll be somebody else. So
yeah, but it was a really quick turnaround. Yeah. So I don't know. Do we do 5 in the future? Who knows?
But you lose a person, but you gain more squads, wouldn't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
It's no. I think we're on. I think out of bad things, some good things come out of it. I think this could be one of them. Certainly, look, I'm going to be the first one to say it eradicates any handling of the scorecards by a shooter. No, I'm being honest. It kills. I wish this was in years ago, because it stops everything. It stops all rumours. It stops any kind of manipulation. It's a far better, secure system, if that makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense. The only thing I need to stress and really hammer home, and it's to my scorers as well as the shooters, every time a shooter finishes a stand, whether it's FITAS or specifically sporting, they need to verbally agree what they shot on that stand and get it ticked up on the scorecard.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of issues tonight with a couple. They swapped routine on the scorecard and they've mixed the scores up. Yeah. So, you know, what could be easier? Steve Lovatt to shoot, Ben Husthwaite to shoot. Did you score 4? Yeah, 4, that's fine. Tick it up and move on.
And this is not meant in any form of detriment to any ground owners out there. But when you say run this at the British Open with senior qualified referees, that would be so much easier to obtain as well.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, I'm not trying to play anybody down for using anybody else, but we've all got to make the CPS. You know, if you've got Bob Fisher and you've got Charlie, they're going to make sure that it's right. Yeah. On a Sunday morning, pissing down the rain, if anybody thinks anything's going to be perfect, you're going to have problems. But I do think from a security point of view, it's far better. It's far better for everybody in the sport that you don't handle anything. Yes, there's a huge delay in getting your scores in the evening, but it's also the fun of the anticipation of, I've had messages all night, I don't know what I've shot, Well, it's a form of excitement, but that's just how it is.
You know, who knows, next week we'll hopefully get the scoreboards back up and people can, we can put the scoreboard outside, to be fair, so they can see it outside. But you say that, but I don't know, 40, 50 minutes ago, 6:30 or whenever it was, I sent the scores from today, Sporting and FITAS to CPSA, they've gone.
But again, as James has just put there, there's absolutely no reason you can't keep your scores and your notes in your phone and know what you shot.
No, yeah, if you have, I've seen that happen today, or they took a notebook and a scribble card or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think it's certainly. Look, I don't think this is going to sound. I don't think it's got any minuses. I really don't. It's definitely got more pluses than even neutrals. I think a lot of things are going to come out of this that change the sport, and a lot of it for the good. I think I really do.
Yeah, we keep on about we need to make clay shooting competition more professional.
This is the way forward.
Let's take golf for instance. You book your teeing off time, and you go and you tee off. That's what we're doing with shooting.
Yeah, you know? I agree.
And for me, as a competitor, if I go out, there's nothing more demoralising than walking around the course, shooting 6 stands, come to stand 7, and you think, oh, there's 15 people waiting here.
Yeah. But I think what also let's say that down the foreseeable, that down the long road, that these mandatory things get lifted, and I think it's an even better scenario that somebody could follow 2 people and go and watch your idols and be quite quick about it. It's better for sponsors because let's just pick. You've picked Chris Childerhouse. He was there today. You know, Chris is the top of his game. Yeah. If you wanted, you know, a lot of the public would never get to see Chris because he shoots around so fast to get to another shoot. But at this level, somebody could watch him for 5 or 6 stands because it's only going to take half an hour.
Yes.
Which is better for Chris to tell his sponsors. I really see it as as there's some positives to come out of it.
Yeah. The one big thing is that we've got to get into what you said earlier, change. Sporting shooters generally just rock up between 10 and 2 and they know they can go and shoot. It's getting them to actually book in advance. FITAS do it, Track do it, Skeet do it, but it's just getting the majority of the sporting shooters in their psyche to pick up the phones, drop us an email, and we go from there really.
And for a little bit, let me know, to cover all bases, for a little bit, you might not be able to do your 2 and 3 shoots in a day because a little bit of a hold up and you miss your next tee time almost. Yeah. And people have just got to be happy that we're shooting, as I'm going to keep saying, because that was a long 9 weeks where we didn't actually do anything, you know.
But because we're having good times again, so to speak, we tend to forget about those 9 weeks, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it really didn't happen. I think we need to reiterate that the efforts that have gone in by the individuals I named earlier have got us out again. And I had a conversation earlier on with somebody, and for me, we are from during the lockdown. I would say, in my own mind, we're probably 8 to 10 weeks ahead of where I thought we would be.
Yeah, people kept saying to me, "What do you think?" And I just had a gut feeling towards the end of May, June, we'd be able to do something.
No, I thought we'd be sure. I'm on about registered competitions. I was thinking, end of August.
Things moved really dramatically quick last week, and it's changing day by day by day. So it's all for the best, really. But we've got to be strict, and we've got to make sure that we are squeaky clean and we do the right thing with every individual.
We're definitely going to be one of the highly scrutinised sports, not because there's bad people doing it, but we just use equipment that people don't like.
Yeah.
And I do think you've done the grounds that I've visited so far are yourself at numerous grounds that you run, and also Kibworth. Kibworth have gone above and beyond with the measuring that they've put in. But there is only so much you can do. The rest of it belongs to the individuals to say, you know what, I need to just hold back a little bit because that's not the social distancing rules, and I don't want to put myself in a predicament where somebody could take that stupid picture.
Yeah. You know, health and safety is paramount. Every morning I put a bottle of sanitizer in their scorer's box when they go out with all the scorecards. There's a box of latex gloves on the counter if any shooters want to help themselves. It's all there. There's bottles of sanitizer and soap all around the clubhouses. So, but, you know, I personally want to protect everybody, but I can't police 200 odd people all by myself.
No, you can't. You simply can't. And one thing that I'm going to ask you, I'm sorry that it's you, but the questions that have been coming in, are these new measures that limit numbers and also the extra outlay that you've had, are we going to see an increase in entries at any point?
What, entry fees?
Yeah.
No. I as you probably well know, I've put my sporting up to £42 competition at Westfield and 37 birds only. Up at Oak Edge and Garlands, it's still the 40 and 35 because of overheads, different grounds, one thing and another. So that's just a commercial basis. I've probably spent £1,000 on sanitisers and different operational equipment. Let's say.
The boxes and
it's not just the scorecards. We winged and prayed it today that we won't get any ranks. We're on paper scorecards, but I've ordered an inkjet printer. We've ordered waterproof paper. We can print our own waterproof scorecards in the weeks to come. So
No, that's what I just wanted to clear that up. Because a lot of people are saying, they're doing all this. The prices are going to have to go up. That's, the questions are for these people. We've got a huge audience tonight that we want to try and answer as many of the questions as we can.
No, people have said restricted in numbers. No, this system, we can put more people through in a day. We squatted it today on 10 minutes for a group of 6, split as twos. I could have done 230, 240 people like that today, but we had 200, and I think the last squad finished shooting at 3 or something.
Yeah, well, you messaged me quite early, didn't you? So What I know this is out of your hands, and it's not with the British Open. It's not the squadding; it's the concerns of so many people congregated in one place. I think we're still operating on a numerical number limit, which, if that's 100 a day in one place, how are we going to do that?
Well, at the minute, the British all comes under these ticketed events that at the moment aren't allowed.
Yeah.
So we're just hoping that will be lifted. I think it'll all be, if everything goes according to plan, July the 4th when phase 4 kicks in, pubs open, restaurants open, we're an outdoor sport, 200, 300 people scattered around a shooting ground, over 15 stands, coming and going. we should be. I'm hoping we'll be fine. It'd be nice to do one big major shoot this year.
Definitely. I've had 2 conversations this week with my friend Charles in France for the Eurocash and with our shoot in LA and they're both 100% go. We're on, and we're looking forward to those too. But it'd be nice to.
Well, it'd be nice to think the quarantine 14 days is lifted by then as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's like Nicholas said. The problem is also hotels, isn't it? As well, we've got to have people returning home, etc., etc. So the $1 million question is: if which system do you prefer as a ground owner to run?
What, as of today or historically, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, as of today, and I've always preferred it. We ran this system really in 2015 at the second British I did at Garland's.
Yeah.
Philip Simpson was the director in them days, and he pushed it forward, and we worked with him. And when we saw how easy it is from my operational point of view, we thought, well, why wouldn't we do this?
Because it's not only with this as well. As a ground owner at a major, you could put a ghost squad in to fill, couldn't you? So no one gets stopped.
But that's what we do, especially with Claire at CPSA. She puts these ghost squads in, and it gives us time. We know where they are. We can follow the one before it, drop the loaders down, fill them up, get them up as people are just walking there. And so it's a dream.
That's 35 minutes there of me and Steve answering, talking about it is from a professional point of view. So we're going to start scrolling through the questions from the people that pay everyone's wages here. It's certainly not me. It's the rest of them. And there's some questions. So guys, it's question time now. If you start to fire them in, I'll read them out to Steve. If you have to pre-book, do you have to prepay? What happens if you can't make it on the day?
Right. Pre-book, yes. Prepay, for me personally, no. I've always been a great believer of not paying up front. I would rather get a shoot full on the squads and basically know in advance so I can plan the shoot, and then people, if they can't make it on the day, let me know ASAP. Please just do not turn up. Even, we had a couple yesterday, I've had a couple today, but they phoned me, told me their excuses or their reasons, and that's fine. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's just, I think the easiest way to describe what you're asking for is be respectful, isn't it?
Yeah, on the worst thing on a fit task morning is if we lose 5 or 10 minutes waiting for one person to come before we start, by lunchtime, that 5-10 minutes has become half an hour, 40 minutes when we're running late. And if they don't turn up, it's not fair on the other 6, 7 or 8 squads for the whole day, really.
Yeah.
And a quick phone call, even just say, I can't be asked, I'm not coming, that's fine.
Just let us know that we're not waiting for you.
Yeah.
Cartridges, can people still buy cartridges?
I've no, at Garland's, yes. I've never been one for selling cartridges myself because we operate from home, so I don't want to get into the realms of lugging cartridges all over the place for people.
So that's fine. Questions, guys? Any more? There was quite a few up here. Let me go back. Do you think there's more merit to this system for people to not shoot with friends and go to a random squadding for like majors, if we're going to be doing it that way, where people you just get a squad and you shoot in that group?
I think people with the pre-booking, people are saying book me a squad or book 3 of us in, and 2 days later, I had one tonight. 2 days later, said I've booked 3 for occasion next week. Can I book another 2? And as it happens, I can get one on his squad and one's on the next squad, and they accept that. As he said, we're still in shouting distance, and we can take the piss out of him or whatever else. So
this is a common question. I think it's quite easy for I'll let you answer it. So, is it 6 in a squad or is it 5 in a squad?
The way we've been operating sporting at the minute, we're doing it in 2s.
Yeah.
But it's 6 people, and so it's 5 shooters and 1 referee, isn't it?
Yeah. So you're still going around in pairs, which is nice. Pool shoots.
Pool shoots at the minute are pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, is a definite no-no.
Yeah.
The government don't want us congregating in one area. They don't really want us handling the cash, and pool shoots are generally cash driven.
Yeah.
And that's touching also onto the prize money element of it.
Well, I just had a question come through now. Could you ask Steve about prize money, because now we're no longer allowed to wait at the end? How long will he hold prize money for?
Well, I'll hold prize money forever and a day anyway. I've got records going back 5, 6, 7 years here at home. So, you know, I just write it down. We carry prize money with us, but from now on going forward, we're going to encourage bank transfers. So, you know, if people let me have the bank details, I will transfer it.
So there you go, guys. You can't really ask for any more than that, can you? You can't. I shot today with shooters who I've never met before, and it was excellent, a good way of meeting new friends and possibly gaining more experience. You know, that's good. Again, I think it's going to force people into new friendships.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're going to be put in that scenario of, and even if you're not squadded with them, they could be behind you, they could be in front of you. That you're going to run into new people at some point.
Well, that's a classic fit ass from travelling around the world with a random squadding in fit ass, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the beauties of that.
So I think we're up to scratch. Is there anything you want to add, Steve, that you've come across, or questions that have been asked to you in the car park today that are just going to help the audience out in a different way?
No, not really. I think the one thing I will stress, and at the end of a Sunday night like tonight, I don't really want a lot of phone calls saying, "Oh, can you check my score? Can you do this? Can you do that?" They need to verbally speak to the referee on that stand and get it all ticked off. And, you know, make sure when they go there, because some of the couples we're shooting today, they said, "Oh, we're not changing the order as it's written on the card." And someone said, "Well, I don't want to go first on everything." I said, "Look, as long as the referee knows who's shooting and who's not shooting, it's absolutely fine. But please speak up and tell the referee who's shooting so everybody's clear."
I mean, I know this is going way down the line, but it might be the fact that whatever you're going to wear for your shooting is that, like in America, pretty much, you have your name embroidered on the back of your ski vest in big letters. You know, if this is the system that we're going to go down, or even just thinking outside the box now, it wouldn't be too difficult for people to actually get a sheet of A4 paper in one of those little plastic wallets, put their name on the. We're used to having numbers on our back. Put your name on the back in big letters. It's certainly going to help the referees out, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, definitely. You know,
we've all got those little cheap plastic wallets. Put your name on a white piece of paper and a marker pen. Clip it to the back of your vest. Yeah. The referee's going to look up and he's got to correlate. Yeah. It's not foolproof, but it's certainly going to help people out.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. You know, it's a lot more admin work for me personally the day before the shoot, typing all the scorecards and everything else. So there's a lot more paper at the moment kicking around on a Sunday than normally, collating scorecards and doing it. But I think there's a lot of merit in it. It's like you said earlier, you're not handling the scorecards, and the onus is down to us to get the scores back in and get them entered.
But I do think someone's. I'm going to put Ben Husthwaite on my vest. But I do think that's a good idea for people to just put their name on the back of their vest. Yeah. So the referee, you're going to be helping the referees out. Another question for you: are your shoots accepting contactless? Obviously, I know the answer, but I'm going to let it come from you.
Say that again. Sorry, I missed that.
Are you taking contactless payments?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah, I saw that at all of the shoots yesterday, mate. I think we've covered everything, unless everybody. I know there's other people watching. If anybody's got any other questions before we let Steve go and have a count up.
Genuinely.
I'm just going to explain to you guys what Nicola has explained there. So there is two options available to two shooting grounds. There's the option that Steve runs where you go station by station by station. The referees are on the station and the stations are manned. You never touch the scorecard because the referees have them all the way round. Some shooting grounds don't have the resources to apply that method. So what they have is a group of 5 plus the referee that makes 6. and that's a caddied round. So the 5 shooters plus the 1 referee walk the course together. So once again, there's no contact with the scorecard. It's totally safe, and these 5 people social distance, and they walk around the course all the way to the end. So Steve is the clay shooting company. That's his way of going round in 2s. The other grounds can run the caddied system of the 5 shooters plus the referee, and then they go around the courses in a very different way. So I'll add that to the other video too. I'll crop it on and put it on at the end. But they are 2 very different different ways. Both fall within the mandatory guidelines of social distancing and the groups of numbers. It's up to the ground. So don't go to that ground and say, oh, you can't do this. Both are acceptable. It's just down to resources, referees, and how they want to run it. But both are totally acceptable.